Hey, Truth Seeker, welcome back. Zach here. A lot of people are asking me to look at the story from this past weekend. It happened Sunday, July 24th, 2016. The story is the Dallas Cowboys, the NFL football team, their bus had a fatal accident in Arizona. This story is completely contrived propaganda, which we'll get to. Where I want to begin is with what people need to know about my research and what I have proven before decoding this story. If you're new here, please listen carefully. What I am explaining is madness, but just realize it's not me who is mad. I am exposing the mad Zionist Jews who control the media, who control the NFL, and stage news stories, and have scripted the world of professional sports, duping and deceiving all of their fans. Professional sports are here to distract us and hurt us as a people, and that's very simple to think about when you recognize that, for example, in the NFL, there's 32 teams, which means at the beginning of every season, there's 32, different groups of people out there that have high hopes, big expectations, and by the end of the season, almost all the fans' hearts are crushed except for one team. There's more losers than winners, always in the world of professional sports. Plus, the fans don't realize they're watching pre-planned outcomes. We're watching top talent. We're watching athletic actors who are paid way more than anyone should ever receive. That's the other thing. We're a nation of pretty much working peasants. It takes about 1,000 of us to work our entire year to cover what one of these athletes makes in a season, playing in a rigged game, deceiving we the peasants. Anyhow, last year, in October, this news story came out of Los Angeles. The story was that it was a single car accident. It rolled over from traveling at too high of a speed. The only person in the vehicle was the driver, who was ejected through their rear window. Imagine being a driver with a seat behind you and somehow being ejected all the way out your rear window. I don't even know how that would happen. You think you'd go out with the seat. But anyway, they said the person was ejected out the rear window and their body flew on top of the Colorado Street exit sign. When I saw this story, already knowing what I know about the news, for the record, on September 11th, 2001, I was 18 years old, and I knew from that day on that I could never trust anything in the news. I knew it was all contrived bullshit, and I better keep my eyes open to what the real story is. And sadly, most Americans, they didn't realize that September 11th was contrived bullshit, and they're still fooled by the very fake, very fictitious media. On September 11th, they told the people of this country they couldn't find the plane in Pennsylvania, or the bodies, or the luggage, but somehow they recovered box cutter knives, turbans, and terrorist passports. Think about it. No plane, but they found paper items, a passport, cloth items, a turban, box cutter knives. It's always a grand mocking in the media, and you truly have to be asleep to not see it. It's why they call this country the American dream, because that's what people are doing. They're dreaming. They're not paying attention. They're going along with lies, a false narrative, being distracted with fake sports games. So anyway, this story, the body lands on Colorado Street. And there was already these other media stories being coded for the Denver Broncos, who are from Colorado. If you go back and watch the video I put together on this from last October, I predicted from this story that the Denver Broncos would win the Super Bowl. A lot of people made fun of me, said it was ridiculous, said Peyton Manning was washed up. And I said, you're damn right Peyton Manning's washed up, but the league's rigged, and you're going to be watching him throw wounded ducks winning the Super Bowl. And that prediction was exactly right. We hadn't seen those bad of passes since the Super Bowl where Peyton Manning defeated Rex Grossman and the Bears. Go back and watch all the work I did. I showed all the parallels between the '85 Bears, this past Broncos team. Before the Super Bowl came, months before it came, I predicted the Broncos would defeat the Carolina Panthers. I made that prediction at the end of November. I also predicted that Von Miller would be the MVP and there'd be a Black Panthers tribute. And for predicting all those things way before they happened, the mainstream media caught wind and they mocked me. Here's USA Today's big lead, their sports reporting. Conspiracy theorist proves Freemasons rigged AFC and NFC championship games. And if you're new to my channel, I'm showing that it's Zionist Jews Masonic Zionist Jews who are controlling all of this, doing all of this by the numbers. So this article was written about me by USA Today, calls me out, mocks me. All this rhetoric, all this mocking, all this poking fun, it was written just before the Super Bowl. You know what's really interesting about the date they put out this article? It came out January 27th. My birthday's July 21st, 721. This year, on my 33rd birthday, there was a story put out about a man being shot who worked with autistic children at a group home in Florida while laying down on the ground. That shooting was on 127th Street, 721 in reverse, a lot like this date. And the thing is, when I discovered this information, when I began this research, what I was doing was working at a group home, managing it for autistic children. And I stopped doing that to expose the race war shooting hoaxes in the media. That's where my research was focused when I began, but I began to connect the dots, see how it even worked into the world of sports. And the rest is history. I showed how last year the symbolism of the white Bronco and the Black Panther was about the ongoing race war in the media. Talked about the significance of the number Von Miller War to the Black Panther Party to Black Lives Matter. Sure enough, it all unfolded as I said. We got the Von Miller MVP, we got the Black Panthers tribute, we got the Broncos over the Panthers. The weekend before the Super Bowl, what did they do? They premiered a new show about O.J. Simpson, his murder trial, a former football player. The first episode was him driving in the white Bronco, Black Panthers. You can go back and watch all my older work on all these subjects. See my video on that new show and why they chose Cuba Gooding Jr. But not to get off tangent, I just want people to understand that the significance of my work, that it's proven, that it's recognized. This guy at the end of this article, he takes another jab at me saying I'm a horrible human being because I'm calling out all of these scripted false flags, hoaxes in the media. What I want you to see is how he says there's 47,000 other vile things on my blog in addition to the Rig Sports. 47 is significant to the Super Bowl. This article was written just before the Super Bowl, which happened February 7th, 2016. The 38th day of the year, Colorado equals 38. Colorado's the 38th state. The crash was on Colorado Street. All part of the coding. Remember this exit 142. We'll talk about that in a moment as well. But anyway, the first Super Bowl was in the 47th year of the NFL. 47, a very special number to Zionism. At the end of his article, he says he doesn't think it's the Freemasons. He thinks it's the Stonecutters, which is a episode from The Simpsons mocking Freemasonry. I want you to listen to this in case you've never heard this before. This is from The Simpsons cartoon show about Freemasonry. Check this out.
Who controls the British crown? Who keeps the metric system down? We do. We do. Who leads Atlantis off the maps? Who keeps the Martians under wraps? We do. We do. Who holds back the electric car? Who makes Steve Gutenberg a star? We do. We do. Who robs Kate Fish of their sight? Who rigged every Oscar night? We do. We do.
So We Do is the name of the song. Did you hear that lyric about who controls every Oscar night and who makes Steve Gutenberg a star? Remember Gutenberg, a Jewish name? Here's what I want to show you about We Do. We Do in Gematria sums to 47. And the man who wrote that article, his last name is Phillips. Remember in the beginning of the article, he questioned if Zachary K. Hubbard was my real name. Ryan Phillips is probably not his real name. Phillips 47, We Do 47, the first Super Bowl in the 47th season. The article written by USA Today mocking how I was saying the Super Bowl was all rigged, when in fact I was speaking nothing but truth. This man, Ryan Phillips, is probably a Zionist Jew himself. So with that introduction, let's now get to what's going on here in this contrived story that's another clue for the season ahead. So, the story happened July 24th, 2016, a date with 47 numerology. We do. It happened in Arizona on a Sunday. Arizona has gematria of 84. Sunday has gematria of 84. So does United States of America. Only one other state sums to 84. I think that's Arkansas off the top of my head. But it's only 2 out of the 50 states. So Arizona 84, Sunday 84, United States of America 84. The NFL calls itself America's game. NFL in simple English gematria equals 32. There's 32 teams. The word America alone equals 32. 7/4/1776, the date of independence, a date with 32 numerology. This is a story of a bus crashing on Interstate 93 at milepost 42, 7 weeks before the home opener, September 11th, where the Dallas Cowboys host the New York Giants from their own division. I want you to notice how bus has gematria 42. It crashed at milepost 42, which we'll get to. Touchdown has gematria 42. Think about 7 points with the extra point. This story 7 weeks before the big game in Dallas. Dallas equals 49 in gematria, the square root of 49.7. Talk more about it. With regards to this happening on Interstate 93, propaganda equals 93. It also happened in Mojave County, Arizona, which has gematria of 93. Arizona, the small way, sums to 39, the reflection. 93 is the propaganda number. It also represents Saturn, the keeper of time, to the occult. If you watch this movie called Knowing with Nicolas Cage, Knowing equals 93. It begins with him looking through the telescope at the planet Saturn, talking to his son. The movie's about how history has been scripted by the numbers. Occult practices, Saturn worship, numerology, gematria. These things have been with the earth for thousands of years in human civilizations. And who this is really important to are the Zionist Jews. Their Congress is called Knesset, which has gematria of 93. Their Speaker of House is Edelstein right now, a name with 93 gematria. If you go through the history of their speakers, so many of them have 93 gematria. The country was drawn up September 3rd, 9/3, or 3/9, in the year 47. The Zionist Jews go by the 39 books in the Old Testament. These numbers are incredibly important. So that's why we're getting this fictitious story on these numbers. Remember, the Cleveland Cavaliers just won the NBA championship in Oracle Arena with 93 points in Game 7. King James, known as LeBron James, won it on the real King James's birthday in history. The real King James, his son was King Charles. King Charles is what Cavaliers are named after, who LeBron plays for. The point is, sports are scripted by the numbers, by history, which is what we're going to talk about in this video. So it happened in Mojave County, Arizona, the gematria of 93, matching the interstate, matching propaganda. With regards to the NFL, there's a lot of Nike swooshes. Nike, their symbol is a swoosh, which is a ring of Saturn. Nike in gematria sums to 39, the reflection of 93. Just another symbol, that's put before our eyes all the time that we make no association with. But to the Masons, Zionists at the top, they know what they're doing. It's all part of a grand mocking, a grand deception over the people who've never been clued in about what really matters in this world. If you didn't see my work on the Colts and Vikings in the wake of the death of Denny Green, both Minnesota Vikings and Indianapolis Colts equal 93. They play each other on a date of significance, a date with 9/3 numerology, exactly 49 days before the Super Bowl. We'll talk more about 49. This wrecked 49 days before the home opener, 7 weeks. Look at this shot they give us of the supposed wreck. What about this looks real to you? You can see that the bus up here, you can't see the front of it. The front could be smashed. But anyway, it supposedly hit this vehicle. This vehicle is completely decimated. Like it blew up in a Hollywood movie 10 times. It's burnt out. It's either crushed or the top's missing. If this was this bad of a wreck, we'd probably see fire damage on the side of the bus. We'd probably see the damage more from here. This is just so staged, it's pathetic. It's no different than the fake Philadelphia train wreck this year before the college championship, which hit a backhoe. I showed how that connected to Villanova the last time. They had lost a college championship against UCLA 45 years earlier. Go check out that work on the college championship. The college, the pros, if it's on TV, if it's gambling, it's all rigged. These same type of things happen. Anyway, that Philadelphia train wreck, a stage scene, just like the Philadelphia train wreck last year, which was directly connected to the NBA Finals. The Warriors, originally from Philadelphia. Philadelphia, the city of prophecy. We'll be talking about revelation and prophecy. Philadelphia named from Revelation. See my work on the Democratic Convention right now. Philadelphia, Revelation, Prophecy. This stuff's bigger than sports. This is a huge topic. Just trying to drop some significance as we go. Here's another shot of the crime scene. I like how they have this Barry White weighing in, you know. They always use these ridiculous names, Barry White, in the baritone voice. So here it is right here. The crash was reported on northbound US 93 about 28 miles north of Kingman at milepost 42. Again, bus 42, touchdown 42, Freemason 42, Zionism 42, special number. We'll talk about Pierce Ferry Road in a moment, and we'll also talk about Dolan Springs. They said 4 people were killed, and in these Masonic hoaxes, they like to write 4 dead because it has the same gematria as Masonic. I assure you that nobody died in this. Completely staged, made-up story. With regards to the mention of Kingman, Kingman has gematria of 33 and 42, tying in with milepost 42 and bus and touchdown. The mention of 28 miles, about 28 miles from 42, is interesting for this reason. 28 and 33 are very special numbers. They connect to false flags. A false flag is a contrived propaganda story to instill emotion in people for the sake of agenda, for the sake of narrative. 28 and 33 are special because when they're written out in gematria, they both sum to 156. They're the only numbers that do. 156 is a number directly connected to false flag. False flag has gematria of 156. The number 911 is the 156th prime number, and this year the season opener for the Cowboys is against the New York Giants on September 11th, the anniversary date of the destruction of the World Trade Centers in New York City. And if you can remember, the day of that attack, they said this is the worst tragedy for the United States of America since the assassination of JFK in Dallas. And this is a game between Dallas and the Giants. Dallas also had the recent police shooting tragedy that was said to be the worst attack on police or the worst loss of life for police at a single event since September 11th. So think about this. If you haven't seen my work on Tom Brady, the biggest beneficiary along with the Patriots of September 11th in stage sports, check this out. Remember, after September 11th, they rolled out the Patriot Act, which took away our liberties. You know, we were supposed to be so patriotic going along with this very obvious propaganda lie to create this false Islamic boogeyman when it's just the Zionist Jew filth. And they gave us this Patriot Act taking away our liberties. And the next thing you knew, just overnight, the New England Patriots were all of a sudden the best team in the NFL, a team that was known for not winning anything. Tom Brady got his first start January 19th, 2002, 119. September 11th is written 11/9 in most parts of the world. All-seeing eye in gematria equals 119. Star of David equals 119. Last year I documented how CBS, for one day last year, had 119 days until the Super Bowl. They didn't do that for any other week. All-seeing eye, CBS's symbol is the all-seeing eye. 119 weeks. So Tom Brady got his first start not long after September 11th, January 19th, 2002, and then he would go on to win the Super Bowl. Look at this. From the date of September 11th to the date of his first start was 131 days. Super Bowl equals 131. Championship equals 131. This is how scripted pro sports is. I was saying this when I was 18 years old. I was telling everyone how obviously fake this Super Bowl was. Tom Brady, remember how they got over the Oakland Raiders? Tom Brady fumbled the ball. The game was over. The Raiders were going to the Super Bowl. or at least the next round of the playoffs. Maybe there was another round before the Super Bowl, but the point was the game was over, the Patriots lost, and they had to come in and make up this bullshit rule and explain why it wasn't a fumble. You know, you have to be a blind sheep to go along with this shit. I've truly seen through this since I was 7 years old. So by the time I was 18, I was just like, what is wrong with people? Are people serious? And here I am now as a 33-year-old myself asking the same questions. I'm also someone living with a death threat. I was told my 33rd birthday would be my last birthday through letters in the mail that come to my house anonymously. And then you see how the national news is making these stories truly mocking me. People want to come here and say I'm delusional while all the evidence is right in front of your face. A January 27th article mocking me, a shooting on my 33rd birthday at 127th Street. If you haven't seen that video, the person shot, his name's identical to mine in gematria as well, for just one more layer. This is their language. These people speak through these numbers. These people code through these numbers. They foreshadow what they're going to do through these numbers. I'm not bowing down to these people because, to me, the threats, they don't intimidate me. I recognize we're in a war. I recognize we, the people, have to be more courageous, more brave, speak out, show what's going on, no matter what the threat is. Otherwise, we're all going to live under tyranny and hell. And honestly, I don't like living here that much. I got a beautiful girlfriend. I got a nice family. I love food. There's things I enjoy. But the frustrations of the way this world is, there's worse things to me than dying is what I'm trying to say. So anyway, on with the story. On with the rigged coding of the narrative. They said it happened on Pierce Ferry Road. And Pierce Ferry Road has this gematria of 166, just like Twin Towers. Twin Towers, the small way, is 49. They were approved by the 49th Governor Nelson Rockefeller. Revelation equals 49, the book of prophecy, which is what these Masonic tyrants work by. They think they're fulfilling the man-made prophecy about Israel, Zion. Learn about Judaism. You'll see what they're trying to do. So anyway, if I didn't mention it, on September 11th, the buildings that fell, the World Trade Centers, they were built by a firm on the 47th parallel called Magnuson Klemenkic Associates, a name in the gematria that sums to 156. The buildings lasted for 33 years. When you write out 33, it sums to 156. When you write out false flag, it sums to 156. The construction firm, their names sum to 156. This is how planned out things are. That means that those buildings, which lasted for 33 years, construction started August 68, they fell down September 2001. That means it was planned out for all that time. And what I'm trying to wake you guys up to in sports is that all these sports have been scripted for that long as well. I bet you since the time of the first Super Bowl, the rest of the Super Bowls were all scripted and predetermined. These people are that organized, this planned out. They've been operating for thousands of years, centuries. This is a well-oiled machine. In case you're wondering why Milwaukee Bucks is up here, this year the Warriors were chasing Jerry West and the Lakers' record from 44 years earlier of 33 straight wins in the NBA. All these leagues are centered around 33 because that's the number of Masonic and Zionist obsession. So they create everything around these same numbers. These people are very repetitive. But anyway, they were chasing the 33 wins. Jerry West is now the GM or the executive for the Warriors. Their streak ended at 28. 33 and 28 both summed to 156. It was the Milwaukee Bucks that ended the Lakers' streak at 33 games. It was the Milwaukee Bucks who ended the Warriors' streak at 28 games. And ESPN did a story where they printed out the shirts for the Bucks fans before the game that they were going to end the streak. Talk about a grand mocking all right in front of your face. So here it is, September 11th, the Hope opener, Cowboys versus Giants, AT&T Stadium, Arlington, Texas. Arlington equals 47. This happened on a date with 47 numerology. Arlington equals 47. First Super Bowl in the 47th season of the NFL. In the movie Oblivion, it hints that the final Super Bowl will be in the year 2017. Tom Cruise has this memory where he's looking up and he's reminiscing about this Super Bowl and he's talking about the year 2017 and he's wearing a New York Yankees ball cap, and all throughout the movie he's number 49. Again, this story about the crash comes 49 days before the home opener, Dallas hosting New York, a symbolic game, two of the most popular teams in the NFL. Again, from the story to September 11th, the opener, Bus crash to home opener, 49 days. 7 weeks. Dallas Gematria 49, who's hosting the game. Revelation 49, the Book of Prophecy. Twin Towers, approved by the 49th governor. The Twin Towers were 110 stories tall. The name Rockefeller equaled 110. So did the name Osama bin Laden, blamed for taking them down. Look at this. I mean, look at this debris. Doesn't this just look so ridiculous? If the bus caused all this damage and there were really people on the bus and people in this vehicle, you can bet more than 4 people would be dead based on what they're showing. And notice how they get like this perfect shot with the Grand Canyon in the background. I guarantee you there's something symbolic about that. Something I'm overlooking right now. I've documented in the past the pattern with 53 and the New York Giants. Grand Canyon in Gematria, the small way sums to 53. The big way, 116, which is the number 911 upside down, the date of the home opener. It could just be that. But if you go through my older videos, I've shown this pattern with 53 and the New York Giants, who they will be playing. That might be part of the reason they're showing here with the Grand Canyon background and the most definitely staged shot. Notice they were heading to Las Vegas, the sports gambling mecca, all part of the mocking. I should have decoded these names here. There's probably more in it. There's always more you can do. When you see me skip things, you know what? Take this knowledge, watch my How to Gematria video, and apply it yourself. You can always take my research a step further. There's people out there who've learned from me, such as Dan Barrett, Dar O'Brien over in the UK. These guys have taken my research, and they are very thorough, and they make even better videos than I do. So check out their channels, Dar O'Brien, Dan Barrett. You can find them in my subscription list. Lots of brilliant people out there starting to apply this research and making great finds as well. According to the police, the bus was making an illegal left turn. This is just a made-up detail. So you have to ask yourself, why do they write it this way? Is it just to throw it out there to create the excuse? Yes, logically that would make sense. But if you look, these people code out everything and they use terms that have significance. New World Order has Gematria of 174. So does the legal left turn. That's what this is. This nation, the United States of America, is part of the New World Order. The New World Order is an old world order. It is the Masonic, Zionist, Jesuit world order. The Catholic Church is under the same umbrella. It's the Zionist Jews of that time who created that church as opposition within Christianity. The New World Order is what is doing all this. This is what the New World Order truly is. You've heard some presidents speak about the New World Order. George W. Bush, his father, George H.W. Bush, gave the speech on September 11th, 1990, exactly 11 years before the 9/11 attack, saying that the New World Order, it will be fulfilled. They will get their way. The Bush family are New World Order agents. Think about that. 11 years before, New York's the 11th state. The World Trade Centers were giant 11s, 110 stories. Take the 0 off the end, you're back to 11. There was Flight 11, the first plane to hit. Floors 93 through 99. The second plane hit at 9:03 a.m. If you've never read my chapter draft that I put on my blog about September 11th, read that. I guarantee you it's the best research you'll encounter to date on September 11th and what a grand deception it was, a major false flag. So much information. Illegal left turn also has Gematria of 66. We're talking about Super Bowl foreshadowing. The first Super Bowl was at the end of the 66 season. Chiefs and Packers, it was played in early 67 on a date with 83 numerology. Football equals 83. Peyton Manning born on the 83rd day of the year. Tom Brady born August 3rd, 8/3. Colorado also sums 8 to 83. They won the Super Bowl on the 38th day. 38th state, Colorado, the small way, 38. Anyway, illegal left turn, 66. NFL and Jewish Gematria sums to 66. First Super Bowl at the end of the 66 season. Probably the reason that's coded in there. The road where they crashed on, they said it goes to Dolan Springs. They mentioned that. I think they did that because they just want to get their Freemasonry coding in. Freemasonry sums to 58. Von Miller wore 58. Last year's Super Bowl 50, Cam Newton became the 58th quarterback to start in a Super Bowl. That's significant because Huey P. Newton is who established the Black Panther Party. Cam Newton wears a Black Panther on the side of his helmet, the name Newton. Huey P. Newton equals 58. Oakland equals 58, where the Black Panther Party was established. Cam Newton becoming the 58th QB to start in a Super Bowl not far from Oakland. Race war symbolism. Black Panther Party controlled opposition from the beginning. It's Freemasonry that believes in order out of chaos and divide and conquer. And that's why they give us all this divisive, controlled opposition. That's why they bring us up on sports and competition. Look at the way people divide and fight over these games, you know? I was at a 49ers-Eagles game on October 10th, 2010. I've never seen so much carnage in my life in the stands. So many bloody fights, so many arrests, even women killing each other. You know, the Eagles are notorious for having violent fans. It was really amazing. Just in my own section, there was about 7 arrests, police tackling people in the stands. I mean, in all the years of violence I've seen, I've worked in group homes, homeless shelters, I've seen some stuff. I'm telling you, one day at that football game, I saw about as much terrible, hate towards each other as I've ever seen in the rest of my life combined from a football game. From the date of this story, it's 49 days until the opener. It's also 46 days until the start of the season, which is Thursday, September 8th. There's a lot of theming for the New York Giants in this football season. The last time Peyton Manning won a Super Bowl, the New York Giants and his little brother Eli won the next year. I made a video earlier this year predicting that in the NFL draft, the Giants would draft Eli Apple, and they ended up doing that. Eli Manning, the Big Apple. It's all part of the grand mocking. Anyway, there's a lot of foreshadowing for a potential Giants Super Bowl. And before the death of Prince and the death of Denny Green, I would have been telling you what I was telling you then. It's going to be Colts and Giants. There's now a chance it's going to be Colts and Vikings, which we'll also get to. But I just want to make this point. From the date of this incident to the start of the season is 46 days. September 8th, NYG for New York Giants equals 46. The season begins 9/8, a lot like 98. That's the Virgin Mary's birthday, the mother of Jesus, special date. Eli Manning sums to 98. In the offseason this year, the Giants lost their 98-year-old trainer. They lost Gary Jeter, and there's been a number of other related deaths, as well as Frank Gifford last year after the Hall of Fame game. A lot of synchronicity. Remember, he died August 9th, which can be written 9/8 as well. There's been a lot of synchronicity with the Giants in the upcoming Super Bowl, but now I found that same pattern with the Vikings, so I'm a bit torn. My next video will be on more symbolism for a Vikings-Colts Super Bowl as well. I want you guys to have this information. If you want to make money off it, more power to you. I do this work to wake people up to the truth of what's going on in the world. It's not about money for me. So anyhow, Eli Manning 98, season beginning, the Dallas home openers against the New York Giants, who Eli plays for. With regards to New York City, where the Giants are from, NYC also has the gematria 42, like bus, like milepost 42. Here's that coding of 4 dead, connects with Masonic and death. What's interesting to note is from the 7/7/2016 Dallas police officer shooting, which was a false flag, a planned event, part of this Blue Lives Matter propaganda. If you haven't seen my work on the shootings, Alton Sterling, Philando Castile, Dallas Police, Baton Rouge Police, please check it out. Very important work, more important than this sports stuff. Anyway, from that shooting to September 11th, the home opener in Dallas is 66 days. Again, this very significant number to the NFL, also 9 weeks and 3 days, a lot like 93. So my next video, what it's going to be on, is what's being foreshadowed also for the Vikings and Colts. I've done the videos on Prince's death, how that relates. Remember, Jim Irsay, the owner of the Colts, bought Prince's guitar on the anniversary of Purple Rain after his death by a significant amount of days. We also saw the death of Zerlon Tipton, the only the only player to score in the deflate game for the Indianapolis Colts. He died 223 days before the upcoming Super Bowl. Important number to Freemasonry. Anyhow, my next video, it's going to be on this right here. The show Pawn Stars, their 322nd episode, The Reflection of 223. That episode was called Vikings and Colts. And there's a whole lot more I got to tell you. Very interesting. It ties in with the prophecy code and everything we're talking about here. Again, this Dallas bus crash came 49 days before their home opener. Revelation is the book of prophecy. This is what the Masons and Zionists work for in coding their riddles. Until next time.